All right, we back, Goodfellas Sports TV. We kind of honing in on the NFL season. Yeah, it's no preseason, but seems that Cam Newton is getting rave reviews, not only from guys and veterans of the Patriots like Devin McCourty, but it seems that he won over Bill Belichick. But first, let's talk about Alvin Kamara. Alvin Kamara is holding out. He has 3 straight unexcused absences for the New Orleans Saints. Let's talk about that first. Don't forget to check out our NFL Talk playlist. Hit that subscribe button, bell icon button, share the video. If you want to make a donation, my information is in the description. Best way to donate is to share the video, though. And, yeah, that's a huge blow. You know, even though him and Latavius Murray didn't work well last year together, Murray pretty much carried the load when Kamara was out last year. But they need Kamara. Kamara wasn't as effective as he was in past years due to some injuries last year, but you know, I think he might be more important to that offense than King Guard Mike, a.k.a. Mike Thomas, because everything he do underneath, the yak, the routes, you know, he ain't really been effective running north and south without Mark Ingram like that, but they need him. You know, they need him really, really bad to contribute. And, you know, if he ain't there for them to contribute and run the ball and catch the swing routes, the wheel routes, the Texas routes, the circle routes, and do his thing underneath, they're going to be a problem because Drew Brees can't go down the field like that. Even though you say, oh, they added Emmanuel Sanders and, you know, this, that, and that, they got Murray. But really, Kamara, the real MVP over there, is because what he can do with the ball in his hands underneath. Drew Brees can't go down the field no more. In the beginning of the season, you might see Drew Brees prove it that he still got an arm. But to be honest, it's really going to be like week 8, 10, 12, to see if Drew Brees can continue to throw that thing down the field. And if he can't throw that thing down the field and you don't have Alvin Kamara, or you let Alvin Kamara hold out for weeks, and then he come in and he ain't the same, or he got to play his way into shape, like Ezekiel Elliott really wasn't himself last year, the Saints ain't going nowhere real fast unless Tom Brady fall off the cliff. And I think my dark horse in that division is the Atlanta Falcons, because they play better when they have no pressure on their back. All right, you know, Falcons going to be playing with house money all year. Nobody had no expectations for them, but Kamara huge on what New Orleans do. And if New Orleans don't have Alvin Kamara, I can see a situation where that season going to fall apart. If they get Kamara healthy and they find a way to integrate Latavius Murray a little bit better with Mark Ingram, and they got Sanders and Mike Thomas, they going to be deadly, you know, with their defense, you know. But if they let Alvin Kamara hold out, and he come out a little rusty, you know, it's going to be a problem. They probably going to be in a situation where they might be the 8-8 crew. They might be this year's version of the perennial years of Dallas Cowboys 8-8 crew. You know, and that's just my humble opinion on it, man. So, you know, I hope they get Kamara in there. Hope they give him his moolah, his money. You know, he just as important. He's the next most important player other than Drew Brees for that franchise. And I think Drew Brees is done. Nobody talk about Drew Brees being one of the most overrated quarterbacks when it come to winning games in the playoffs. For some reason, he always choke and don't play up to expectations. And the only reason Drew Brees is still in the league right now, the only reason he's still there, okay, is simply because Sean Payton's mastermind and they eye for drafting talent to make him look good. They got him a solid defense. They got him solid pass catcher, solid running back. And the only reason he's still ticking around this joker is because his supporting cast. You put Drew Brees somewhere, you know, where he didn't have that supporting cast, Drew Brees is trash. He don't have an arm no more. A lot of things he hanging on is white privilege and historic privilege. What he done historically. He been living off that one Super Bowl just as long as Aaron Rodgers been living off his one Super Bowl. All right, but you know, in my opinion, I just believe that it's probably best they get Kamara signed. If they don't get Kamara signed, then it's going to be a situation where things not going to go so good. So, but let's continue on. Cam Newton is in a situation where he working hard. He doing what he got to do as a football player. Devin McCourty saying he the first guy in the building, last guy out. Bill Belichick saying it. They love him some Cam Newton. And, you know, hopefully Cam Newton can be a guy that really fall into place. I don't have no love for Cam Newton. I really don't have no love for none of the NFL players no more. And especially the black quarterbacks who didn't unify and stand packed with Colin Kaepernick. I don't want to hear their version of, about Breonna Taylor. I don't want to hear them mention Trayvon Martin. I don't want to hear these dudes speak on black issues no more. Because when it was time to be black, a lot of times you dudes wasn't black. So don't speak up now when it's easy to speak up, when everybody speak up. It's hard when the teacher got a tough question on the damn board and he asks you, hey man, what's the answer? And nobody had their hands up. It's hard to put your hands up in that scenario than when he asks you what 1 + 1 is. And a lot of these dudes, I don't really speak on it like that no more. I lost respect for every black quarterback in the league that didn't stand up with Kaepernick through the years since he got whiteballed out until now. And if they would have stayed unified, they couldn't have got rid of all of them. But I don't really have no love for Cam Newton. You know what I'm saying? His dresses and his feminine way. But, being a black quarterback, I hope that he succeed. We starting to take over the NFL when they said we weren't smart enough to be quarterback and all that. So small part of me want to see him succeed. I don't have no ill will towards the Patriots. I've been a Tom Brady fan since he's been battling Drew Bledsoe, Andrew Bledsoe, or Drew Henson in the state of Michigan, at Michigan. So at the end of the day, it is what it is. Cam Newton sound like he winning those guys over. He working real hard, and maybe he needed a little motivation. Maybe getting that Manolo boot to the ass out of Carolina put stuff in perspective. I felt that he should have took time off, let his body heal, came back, but he knows his body. He been working hard. He been putting that work in. But I'm at the point, I'm 30 plus years old. I'm at the point where I just see through the bull jive. You know what I'm saying? Now, it's easy to be black. It's easy to speak up on black racial issues, but when it wasn't easy, ain't nobody standing with Kaepernick. So a large part of me used to be a Cam Newton fan when he's putting his foot up, roll tide ass in an Iron Bowl game. But it's a large part of me right now that just don't have a lot of respect for NFL players. And not only got to deal with Colin Kaepernick, it also got to deal with them not fighting for their money and unifying and getting a good contract for the future NFL players. But Cam Newton doing his thing. He holding it down there in New England. So we'll pretty much see, how it goes. But I wish him the best from an aspect of I'm rooting for black quarterbacks. But from an aspect of, a good place and, as far as being black and all that pro-black stuff, he just another sucker that let down the community. And that's why Kaepernick looked at him the way he did in Carolina. He stood with Kaepernick, he would have been immortalized as a real black man that stood for something, but he didn't. But guess what? He's still one step away from sitting where Kaepernick's sitting at right now. And if you haven't realized, through all this black stuff, all this apologizing Roger Goodell doing, Kaepernick ain't had a workout. Kaepernick ain't on the team. Kaepernick name ain't been mentioned. All right? Let's just keep it 1,000 wild, right? Pay attention to that. Had Cam Newton one step backwards from not having a job with Kaepernick. One step, one misstep, one interception, one bad series, one bad game in New England, or a bad start, he right back sitting where Kaepernick sick at. So y'all recognize that. But don't forget, we on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Don't forget, we got a Facebook group. All those links in the description. Want to make a donation? Cash App CJ Good 313. PayPal, Cash App in the description. Appreciate that love, support. Best way to donate personally is to share the video. And don't forget to check my other channel out, Motor City Sports Talk, right here on YouTube. One time we gone.